Hi, Lewis. Let's take a look at your week 5 assignment 1 thumbnails. All of these thumbnails are very well developed. You've got a good amount of variation in place, and each one I think is showing at least some kind of push towards getting a certain amount of complexity and variation in them, which I think is great. I think really any of them could work, although I'll tell you my kind of opinions on some of them. I think one would be very good because the scope of it is kind of much grander than, say, the city street, or not even a city, the little town, or the interior. You have, the sky, the moon, kind of, I can imagine a contrast in color between the warm of the fire and the cool of the environment, and a lot of organic materials to have to render: the rocks, cactus, the sand, even clouds, which are something that we haven't done before, that I think would be challenging and I think interesting. But I also think that they would be very challenging as well as interesting. I think trying to deal with the rock face and making it look convincing, dealing with the sand, dealing with the cactus, having kind of a night scene rather than a scene that I think we're normally accustomed to. These are all things that we haven't really dealt with a huge amount in this class. We're really focusing more on kind of man-made structures. So it's something to think about. I think if you want to do it, you want to do it, and we want you to work on something that you're going to want to follow through with for a week and a half. So I think by all means go for it, but I think make sure you have a good understanding of what is necessary to make this work effectively. 2 I think is good. Good amount of different textures, and it's a fun scene. It seems like it's being broken up a little bit by some oddities, the fence that moves straight to a road that moves straight to kind of a hillside, but I think it could work. I think for me though, number 3 is my favorite, to be honest with you. It's a very kind of simple little space, but I think that for me there's a couple things that for interiors I like a lot. One is that if you do an interior, this is just my opinion, is that if you can render it in a way that it makes the viewer feel like they're able to just kind of step into the drawing or the painting or the work and just be in the room, I think is a successful one. And I think some of that involves kind of the viewpoint, how high is your horizon line, your eye level, where are you positioning the viewer in comparison to the room, that sort of thing. But this feels really nice. It feels like this cozy little corner where somebody just kind of sits and reads and intellectualizes. I think having a window behind it with a view of the outside helps to create even more space and depth. Even though it's just a corner of the room, we can kind of go outside of that. I think the thought of having an entire bookshelf full of colorful books, some nice kind of cast shadows that are being played across the room because of the light from the window, it just feels like it would work to me really, really nicely. And it's already being rendered extremely well in terms of perspective, textural kind of elements, and just kind of the setup of the room. So this for me is the one that I personally like the most. I think 4 is also very good. I think the layout works out nicely. I like the overlapping of the foreground element. It's a little kind of standard though for me. I think it could all depend on the mood that you try to get into it, but I guess the same could be said for 3. It's just kind of a standard scene, but I just for some reason am drawn to 3 the most. And I also think that these 2 guys, you wouldn't have as much unknown territory to have to jump into. You've dealt with an interior, and I don't think that there are too many elements within this that start to become, very foreign. So it's just something to to think about. A really nice job with these thumbnails though. I'm very pleased with them all. I think you did a great job of visualizing 4 very different ideas, and they're all very, very high quality.